Hey guys, this is Bite Size Tactics playing Crying Suns, and this is just the demo of the game. And before I even get started, I want to give the developers of this game props for actually including a demo. You know, nowadays with the especially with Steam's refund policy, where you can buy a game and play it for a couple hours, and if you decide you don't like it or it doesn't run well or it's buggy or whatever, you can return it. There's almost zero um, good games that come with demos. It's very few and far between, so it's nice that this game actually has a demo. And this is it's called kind of a rogue-lite tactical game is what they're calling it. A lot of people are comparing it to FTL and a couple of the other sort of FTL clone type games that are out there. I've just played this demo a bit. I figured why not put up a video on it, on some comments and my reaction to it. I know it's doing pretty well on Steam at least. The reviews are really favorable. It's gotten some good reviews and things online from what I've read anyway. So I think it's doing pretty well, which is cool. It's supposedly, you know, at least partly a tactical a tactical game. So that's cool. As you'll see, I'll just get into it. I'll just start a new game here, and you know, again, I've probably spent an hour or so kind of tooling around with it, but the first thing you'll notice is about the game is just how cool it looks. The production's really great in this game, especially the art design and this kind of pixelated 3D rendering. I don't even know how they're doing this, but it's very cool. Makes the game stand out, I think, completely. Way better looking than really anything else, I think, that kind of competes in this genre or subgenre of game. So this game is, from what I can tell, I'll try to skip most of the sort of demo story stuff, but this game is kind of a bit heavy on the text and reading and sort of stories and events and kind of somewhat of an overarching narrative, I guess, which is cool. I mean, I don't generally gravitate towards games that are full on down that road, but this one just seems to be kind of balancing it out a little bit. So you can see there's stuff to unlock, there's ships to unlock, there's additional officers to unlock. We pick a couple officers to aid us in our ship here. Let's just take this as a scientist. They all have these different skills which apply to things like events and some other things. Let's go. We'll just get this guy. Is this another? Oh no, it's okay. So we got a spy and a scientist, and we've only got the demo ship to use. So let's just start the game. But so overall, I think I don't know. I don't really know where I stand in this game, to be honest. It's interesting from what I've played, and again, props to the developer for actually including a demo here. But I don't know. It's not as it's a great package, and I think if you hadn't spent time playing these types of games before, you might think this is really cool. So just like FTL, there's a star or a sector map, I guess it's called here, kind of your star map, where you choose a destination, you get a little bit of insight into what you might find at these destinations, and you can kind of look a little bit ahead and say, okay, do I want to end up here? I may know information down the road, etc. Anomalies are kind of your 50-50 good event, bad event sort of things that you may unfold. So let's actually, let's just try, we'll just go down here just for the sake of it. You've got fuel to manage, you've got crew to manage, you've got obviously a ton of ship upgrades and squadrons and all sorts of secondary abilities. So we're getting a message. There's a couple of different kind of factions within the game, kind of within the lore of the game, just like FTL almost, where they kind of behave differently. They have a little bit of different text and things that you'll read through, but essentially it boils down to this sort of stuff where you get decisions to make. There's a lot of dialogue in the game that you can actually kind of follow around with, but so we get a choice here. Do we want to risk the lives of the slaves, or do we want to try to, you know, how are we going to resolve this event, basically? So we want to give them some scrap. Do we want to use some commandos? We could actually have let's try our specialist, since we have a scientist who has a skill that looks like it might be useful. We have our lieutenant. I'll just click through some of this. So interesting. As I'm clicking through this, there's and one of the at least one of this I think on the Steam page they talk about the inspiration of Dune and the Foundation series. Both of those books are really cool. I've read both of them, and or not the whole Dune series, but at least the original Dune book, and as well as Foundation. They're cool books. Um, I haven't obviously seen a ton of the game because I've just played the demo as far as how deep and how interesting this sort of the narrative of the game ends up being as you explore more. And here we get some commandos added to our list here. We can attack the scrap. Let's just push on for now. We freed those slaves, and that's fine. So here we can. This is kind of our first system map thing. We got to make sure we always scavenge for our fuel before we leave. And we can also set up some basic stuff here. Each of the characters, your lieutenants, has different things that their abilities will apply to. So this guy has battleship shielding, which you'll see kind of how that unfolds once we get into a tactical battle. Our squadron, I think our scientist has a DPS percentage increase for our squadron, so we'll slot her there. Got different ships that we'll send out into tactical combat. So you kind of get the idea. Let's go back to, there's nothing else to do here right now, so we'll go to the star map, and within each star on the sector map, you get sort of a solar system or solar map here. So we've already been to the shipyard. Let's check out this star here, and it's got an anomaly signal, so we don't know what we'll find here. You can see though the game just looks really cool. It's very crisp and quick functioning. So this guy's here. This Eon, yeah. I don't want to kind of spoil or unlock much of what the sort of story stuff is, but so we're gonna get into a battle here, and this will be a good chance to explain sort of what the tactical combat works like. It's a lot different than FTL is the obvious analogy here, but so basically we're managing our hull, which our ship itself, kind of the battleship itself. We're managing squadrons, which are basically units that we're going to put out on this hex-based grid, and in a lot of cases there'll be things to maneuver around or different effects that we'll find on the hex-based grid, like asteroids or nebulas or whatever stuff that's going to impact sort of the terrain, if you want to think about it like space terrain. So we'll have again, our units are going to be our squadrons balanced out on here. Over time, we can add more and more squadrons that are capable of being used from our ship. Right now, we just have these two. Also, we have weapons, which are kind of like active abilities. Everything is in real time, as you'll see. There's sort of a rock, paper, scissors element to how the combat unfolds, which I think is a little lacking, I guess I'd say. But anyway, so we'll queue up our fighter unit and a drone unit, and then we'll just let this play. You can obviously speed it up here, but you see things charging. So these ships are ready. Here comes an enemy ship. Actually, let me pause it here. So we can see the enemy squadron is out here, right? It's echoed over here as far as what we're going to find on the enemy ship. He's just got the one squadron. It's a fighter squadron. You can see it's got some basic stats: health, melee damage, speed, shields, other things that you'll find. Some of them have abilities or innate bonuses and other stuff like that. But so fighters do damage increase to drones, and if I remember correctly, yeah, drones do frigates, and then I forget there's a third type that does well against, it might be bombers maybe or something. I forget what it's called, that does well against fighters. So it's a bit of a rock, paper, scissors thing to think about it that way. But we'll just order our units. Actually, we can use control, I believe, to kind of map out their movement. And let's just watch what happens here if I unpause. So eventually, yeah, this fighter is going to get into battle with his fighter. His one's already pretty much damaged, so easy win there. In another 5 seconds or so, this weapon will be ready. We can give that a shot. There it is. Weapon's ready to fire, so we can just fire it. Let's fire it right at his hull. And you'll see it does 15 damage, and there we go. So very, very simple. Obviously, the combat gets much more complicated and interesting and involved than what just happened there, but That's sort of the basics. So we get rewards. This is a flash drone. I'm not sure if I remember what a flash drone does. Um, so we can swap these guys out. Oh, it's frigates, not bombers. It's frigates that do damage bonus to fighters. So, for example, we could swap out, or actually, this is the one we just got. So it has Mark 1 drone, a flash drone. You can teleport the unit with its bender drive, which is on a cooldown itself. It also has this teleport shockwave, so it's going to generate an EMP to all adjacent enemy squads when you teleport it somewhere. So, again, as you unlock more and more stuff, it gets far more interesting as far as what's on the squadrons, what they're good against, what they're bad against. You can kind of mix and match as you go. Let's actually give that one a test here, since it's more interesting than just this basic drone we had. And then we have you have your kind of your shops that you're managing. Your scrap is your currency. Let's just take a look really quickly. There's probably not much that we're going to be able to afford here. We can repair things here. We can buy upgrades or auxiliary systems, buy additional squadrons. Right now we don't really have enough scrap to really make that worthwhile. Just like FTL or some of the other corollary games, you can also upgrade your ship systems. So additional squadron docks, for example, more damage or hit points essentially with hull bars. Make your hull stronger, fuel efficiency, etc., etc., etc. So there's a lot to see and do here. We'll do one more jump here, since we're basically done in this system. We can go to the Alderakis system and let's see what we find. There's going to be an army depot. You see that countdown timer? You may have seen it on the left side there. That's kind of the mechanic where you can't take forever going through each sort of galaxy. You're eventually going to get caught from, just sort of like an FTL again, where you're going to kind of get caught spending too much time bouncing around from place to place here. So let's see, we found an abandoned ship. We're scanning it, and there's a lens upgrade, so some sort of upgrade on the ship, and we get that for free. So this is going to be a free, I think, a system improvement. Where do we find this one actually? I think we only have room for one. Why am I, Oh no, it's just I'm sorry, it's just a level. So what this is, I thought this was actually a system, but it's just a, kind of an upgrade out of the box. So let's remember to scavenge some fuel. Sometimes you get a little more here. It's a sort of RNG part of this. If we go to the star map now, I think we're going to be able to see, see, now we can see further ahead because we've got this navigational system on here. We can see systems that are, one more node away, I believe, is what it's actually adding to us. So now we can see all the way over to here. And planning ahead-wise, we might say, okay, we're going to change our route to try to find a specific shop or an encounter or something that we want. There's our alert is spreading. So, and just like you've seen in other games, the systems become hostile as the turns go on in the sector map here, or the system map. But so that's pretty much the game. Let's do one more. And so we see them catching up. We're heading out of here. It's a cool game. I don't know. I'm interested by it. I don't... Just to kind of summarize what my feelings on it so far, I don't think it's something I'm going to pay $25 for, but it's probably something I'm going to stash on my wish list for a while. And probably a year from now, when this game costs $10 or something, and I've got nothing else that I'm interested in playing, I'll probably come back to it, because it looks like there's quite a bit here. I'm sure they'll add more to it over time as well. So here's a civilian ship, and it's close to this burning sun here. What's going to happen? Again, there's another... actually, this will kind of give you an idea of some of the sort of narrative stuff and faction-based stuff or whatever. So there's kind of a religious sort of faction that at least I've come across from what I could tell. Why worship the stun? Because, okay, yeah, we're not gonna, I don't want to expand upon a ton of this stuff here. So these guys are just chilling here. There's nothing we're gonna actually do here. Kind of a, you know, sort of uninteresting. Let's go to the system map, and we'll do, let's check this out. Abandoned Auto Factory. See what we find over here. We can buy the pirate map. Let's ask about this pirate treasure map. How do we know the map's legitimate? Got it off a pirate. He died of a heart attack. We took it off a pirate expert. It's got the official pirate stamp on it and everything. See, so I don't know. It's like, on one hand, I think in some cases the game's trying to be more bound in like story and narrative and sort of that world, but at the same time it's all very like blunt and heavy-handed and sort of tongue-in-cheek in time. I don't know. It just doesn't. I don't really think for me, anyways, the way I like to play these games, I don't really think what they've layered onto the fundamental game is really very interesting, or would really stay interesting for very long. I guess that's just my opinion. But so, anyways, so yeah, I mean, it's a very cool. It's a very well presented game. The music and sound is cool. It runs, seems to run really well. The art is obviously very interesting and really well done. But as far as like the game itself, I don't know. It doesn't really do anything that interesting. I mean, if you play into the, I've just played again just into the demo. I've played a bit more into it and seen some other videos and stuff of people playing it, and certainly the combat does get more interesting. There's, I think, enough going on in that tactical layer to keep you busy for a while, but I don't know, just the sort of combination of you know, this game sort of, I think, is trying to check a few different boxes at once, and in doing so, probably reasonably successfully. It really doesn't maybe check any of the boxes enough for me to want to dive in and pay $25 for it. That's essentially my review of it for now. But again, it's something that's going to be on my wish list. The demo, I can't, you know, again, it's so cool that there's a demo for this so that I don't have to go through the process of buying and refunding it after 2 hours or whatever. So very cool. I mean, it's cool to see this type of game. There's no shortage of, you know, the Slay the Spire, FTL, sort of roguelite, all those games, right? There's a bunch of games in there that are fun for a while. I think at the end of the day, though, you can kind of get burned out on the genre, and this one to me doesn't seem to be adding things that I think would keep me very busy. So I'm perfectly happy waiting till it's cheaper. You know, I've got plenty of money to spend on video games. It's more a matter of what do I want to spend my time on video games. So it's not that the game is overpriced at $25. It's more just like, I'm probably not going to play this a ton right now, and in 6 months or whenever, this game's certainly going to be on sale for cheaper, and maybe that's a better time where I'm more interested in playing this type of game. And maybe they've added some more stuff to it or whatever. They've given it a once over. Who knows? But that's my thoughts on it. It's Crying Suns. I'll put a link to the website for the game below, but it's cool. I mean, I think I get why this game is getting positive reviews. There's certainly a lot. It seems like there's a lot here, and it seems like there'd be a lot to like, especially for people who are into that subgenre of games for sure. So I'm not surprised people are enjoying it. But anyways, thanks for watching. Let me know what you guys think below. If you think there's more to this game than I've sort of found in this demo, then certainly let me know. And specifically, I'm interested in the tactical part. If you guys think the tactical part becomes more fun and interesting deeper into the game as you go through different runs of the game, right? Is there different strategies to use? As a roguelite game especially, how many different ways are there going to be to actually play this game in the tactical layer, right? Obviously, you can spam different types of squadrons. There's a few different ways I could see just playing through the demo a bit of sort of directions you could go. But at the end of the day, is it really going to be that replayable? I don't know, especially kind of clicking through and working through some of the event stuff. I'm not totally certain, I guess. But let me know what you guys think below. As always, thanks for watching the video.